Andy Fletcher had died. He was one of the founding members of Depeche Mode, died in his sleep. Ray Liotta died in his sleep, like the same day. Mm-hmm. We were on our way to Chicago, and Gwen goes, "Oh, Ray Liotta died." And then Bill texted, and I saw that. And then we're at the hotel, and I go, "Oh my God, Andy Fletcher just died." So basically, if you're a Depeche Mode fan, they're down to 2 members. They're down to Dave Gahan and Martin Gore, because Andy Fletcher was a founding member of the band. He'd been there since day one. Then there were other guys in and out. Alan Wilder left a long time ago. Vince Clarke left early. He formed Erasure, if you're into them. So it's down to Dave Gahan and Martin Gore now. So obviously all of the talk, if you're a Depeche Mode fan, is this the end of Depeche Mode? Because Andrew Fletcher had been there since the very beginning. He was 60, which is not old. Ray Liotta died in his sleep. He was in the middle of shooting a movie. He's 67. He had a hot, young fiancée. Not young, but young for him, 46. She was down there with him. Died in his sleep. Ray Liotta was awesome in everything, by the way. Anytime you saw him pop up, you were like, oh, this is going to be good. Like he's in Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the big ones, right? Goodfellas, young man during Goodfellas. And you'd see him pop up in some movies that weren't so good, but he was always great in them.
He was in one of the Hannibal movies. He fed him his own brain.
Yeah, he did. He cut open his head, and yeah.
He's like drooling at the table, and he's like eating his own brain.
I
remember that's
the Hannibal movie. It was called Hannibal.
Was it Hannibal?
Yeah.
I was young when I watched that, and I'm like, dude, you
like 97 or something.
So I was like 8 years old watching this movie.
He was in that awful Sopranos prequel, but that wasn't his fault.
I still haven't watched that
Oh,
yet.
God, Many Saints of Newark. Yeah. What a waste of time.
Is that
He's
a
in
movie?
that. Yeah, it's like a prequel to The Sopranos, and
it's like young Tony.
Right. He's in. He was in the Muppet movies back in the day. He's got a grown daughter, but he was engaged to this woman named J.C. Nittolo. He was in Killing Him Softly, which I think is a great Brad Pitt movie that not a lot of people saw or cared about, where he plays a hitman, but he was great in that. He just finished this movie that Elizabeth Banks directed called Cocaine Bear, which was based on a true story. And he, Ray Liotta was a guy who was always working. But he was shooting a movie in the Dominican Republic and called Dangerous Waters. And he went to sleep and didn't wake up.
He was in Observe and Report with Seth Rogen.
Oh, God.
That one's... Yeah. Not everybody liked that movie. I liked that movie. I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So Ray Liotta died. Andy Fletcher died. George Shapiro died. He was Seinfeld's longtime manager. If you remember 20-odd years ago, the comedian documentary that Jerry Seinfeld did, George Shapiro is featured pretty prominently in that. He was a big deal. He was like Andy Kaufman's manager back in the day, and he was an executive producer, obviously, on the Seinfeld TV show. He was a big deal, George Shapiro. He was 91, and he was just tired of living. Norman Lear is outliving everyone, by the way. Norman Lear's 99 years old.
He can't be stopped.
And at this point, he's
we're
like...
We're jinxing him right now.
He's like, I'm sure I'll be seeing George Shapiro very soon. So yeah, he helped shepherd Seinfeld through the early days of nobody watching it. NBC, because they were such fans of Jerry Seinfeld, they gave that show like 3 seasons with nobody watching it.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. And so George Shapiro died, and he goes way back. He was working on like the Dick Van Dyke Show and Mary Tyler Moore, and Alan White died. If you're a prog rock nerd or a drummer, Alan White was he wasn't the founding drummer of the band. Yes, that was Bill Bruford, but Bruford left pretty quickly, and so Alan White has been the longest serving member of that band. He played drums for the Plastic Ono band. But Alan White, if you were a fan of Yes, he played on just about every one of their albums. He played drums on Imagine, too, the John Lennon song. He was 72. He was sick with something. But he was on basically every... Because Yes was one of those bands where a lot of guys going in and out, forming other bands, getting sick of each other. But Alan White had been in there, I think, the longest. So if you're a fan of Yes, you know who he is. John Anderson, by the way, of Yes, if you just like the singing in Yes, he's playing the Kent stage in July. This is a guy, John Anderson, if you're familiar at all with this guy. You guys probably aren't, but
nope.
The band Yes, he fronted them for a long, long time. And there was a time where he would always wear white. Met him one time, he's about 2 feet tall, and he would always wear white because he said he was surrounded by angels. And, that resonates with a lot of people in this country who believe that angels are a thing. Nevertheless, if you're a fan of the voice of Yes, he'll do the Kent stage on July 22nd. He'll have a backing band. It's not Yes, but it's John Anderson, who has a very distinctive kind of high-pitched voice. Long-distance runaround and roundabout and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, a lot of celebrities died while we were gone. I mean, is 4 a lot?
Yeah, it's
more
kind
than
of
usual.
Yeah.
I mean, 160, relatively young-ish people. I mean, 60 and 67 are not old. Andy Fletcher, not much older than I am, unfortunately. So who knows? But, yeah. Celebrity deaths sometimes do come in 3s. Sometimes they come in 4s and 5s. There's a guy, even if you weren't from there, if you'd ever visited the city of Chicago, you might have seen this. They referred to him as the most famous homeless guy in Chicago, which is a dubious honor, but they called him the Walking Man. And if you'd ever been in downtown Chicago, it's very likely that you would have seen him. He was this tall, lanky guy with kind of long gray hair. Not stringy. It was like Travolta, Saturday Night Fever, feathered gray hair.
Wow.
And this guy was always really dapper. Like he was homeless, but he was always walking around. You'd see him walking around downtown Chicago. You may have seen him if you visited. His name was Joseph Cormelis. And over the years, I saw this guy in high school. I'd see him in college. I'd see him when I go back. You could not see him. And downtown Chicago is a big place, but this guy was always, they call him the Walking Man, the Walking Dude. And he was kind of like this local folk hero that you would see walking around. He always had like a blazer on and like a bag over his shoulder. He was very clearly homeless, but he never asked people for money. And there were all these conflicting stories. They would constantly do stories on him over the decades trying to get information on this guy. Where'd he come from? Who is he? And they're like, well, he came to they got in touch with some of his family members, and they're like, we tried. It's not like he is destitute. This is just the life that he's chosen. And he would just walk around the city, but he would also sleep under bridges and things like that. And so over the years, when they would get in touch with family members, they would say, we'd love for him to come live with us. He was like a Polish immigrant or something, but you'd always see him walking around. And so when we were there, I was like, maybe we'll see him. Because again, when I go home, we're not often downtown, but we were all this weekend. And so I'm like, oh, maybe we'll see him. And then a friend of mine texted me the story that a guy set him on fire.
Whoa.
That he was sleeping under an overpass. Now, the guy who set him on fire said he was just mad and thought he was burning some blankets.
Whoa.
So he's saying, well, I didn't mean to do it. I thought I was mad and just wanted to burn some trash. So he's contending that he just thought it was blankets. But who the hell walks by under an overpass in any major American city and goes, there's just a pile of blankets. Couldn't possibly be a person under there.
That's so sad.
Yeah, so they said the guy's probably going to die, obviously, because he's 75 and he's got burns over 50% of his body.
Jesus.
And I guess they got him on like some kind of surveillance video or something where he just happened to walk by and it was this guy and lit the blankets on fire.
Yeah, I definitely don't believe his statement of, I didn't know there was a person under those blankets.
Yeah,
What would this person-
he told cops that he found a McDonald's cup full of gasoline.
Oh.
And decided he wanted... You know how you'll be walking around and you'll just find...
Is he living in Grand Theft Auto? You don't just find...
Gasoline.
Especially when gas is in Chicago $6 a gallon.
Yeah.
You're not finding a cup of gasoline somewhere.
Holy cow, is it expensive. Yeah, even though the video shows arms and legs sticking out from underneath the blankets, he said that he would just wanted to set something on fire.
The guy just thought it was a homeless person and no one cared about him. So, hey, they're never going to know it's me. And even if they do, they don't care.
That's how serial killers start, isn't it? Homeless people, drifters,
Animals.
workers of the night.
They said that he stood up and was jumping around trying to put himself out, but the flames spread to his lower torso, so his whole body from the waist up was engulfed. He was on fire for 3 minutes when no one helped, until a security guard caught it on the monitor and ran out with a fire extinguisher.
That's crazy.
He said he is not expected to recover. So, if you've traveled there, you may have seen him, because this was like a well-known guy. Most people weren't talking to him. You'd never see him out in front of like Water Tower Place with a cup, or he was always walking around. Only time I ever saw this guy stopped was when he was waiting at a red light to cross. And remember the guy Yanni? Remember the keyboard guy Yanni back in the day?
Yeah.
Like long hair and the mustache? That's what this guy looked like, but with gray hair, right? Grew up in the city, sold jewelry on the street. And he lived in a tiny apartment a long time ago until
he kind of has like a Geraldo vibe to him.
Well, I certainly hope it's not Geraldo in disguise.
Imagine living that long and then to go out like that.
Living
That's
that
what I'm
long
saying.
homeless,
Yeah,
like on the
homeless.
street in
I mean,
Chicago.
and over the years, like 5 or 6 years ago, he was in the hospital because somebody beat him up or threw a brick at him. You know, so it's like he's had a couple of things along the way. But yeah, this is what'll do him in, is the guy setting him on fire.
Is this guy going to jail?
Hell yeah, he going to
He's
jail.
in jail without bail.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just making sure.
Yeah, because he's like, hey, man, I just found a cup of gas.
Why are you picking up cups? Is he homeless too?
No. 23-year-old dude from like the Northwest side.
There ain't no cup of gas. Like,
not only that, but like, and you also had a lighter.
Yeah.
Okay, but why are you
What am I
picking
going to
up
do with this
cups?
lighter? Hey, lucky me, I found a cup of gas.
If I ever see a cup in a parking lot, I assume it's full of pee. My brothers used to do that. I used to pee in cups and leave them next to people's cars and stuff so that if they kicked it or whatever, they get pee on them.
How flammable is pee?
It depends on what you ate.
Depends on what part of Mary's life it was.
Yeah, right. 2016 to 19. Pretty flammable.
You're like those people turning their faucet on in Flint.
Right, yeah.
Lighting it with a lighter. Yeah, so pretty wild. So there was a part of me that was excited for that because, we had our daughter, and I was like, whatever. You're looking for whatever you can pick up in Kicks. Local flavor. And a buddy of mine texted me. He's like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "Nope, did not see this." He also texted me that he goes, "I got my Facebook check." You heard about this? The people who got, I don't think it was confined to Illinois. There's a lot of people in Illinois who had been part of this class action suit against Facebook for a data breach. And people were getting like $350 settlement checks from Facebook.
Oh. Is it?
He's like, I got my Facebook check. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking
posting
about.
that, but I assumed it was from like videos, like posting videos.
There was
and
some
getting
data
money.
breach. You had to file, like, it took some time. You had to file by like the fall of 20. And people are just now getting their checks.
$300.
Yeah, like a million people are getting like
that's
$350
great, good for them,
checks.
but-
Yeah.
Facebook, we're sorry. Here you go.
Oh, somebody's telling me that the walking dude already died. Well, I didn't. I guess I didn't follow up on it a couple days ago.
That's so savage.
That gas would disintegrate that cup. There's no way there was gas in a McDonald's cup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, one of those paper cups. I mean, I don't think they do styrofoam cups anymore, but you don't know.
I thought all their cups are plastic now. Like, if
I think they're plastic, and I think it would
Are
eat
they?
through that. So, like, he probably had some sort of glass container to put it in.
I was gonna say, gasoline that will eat up a plastic cup.
Yeah, it could.
They eat up a lot.
Yeah.
It's gas.
I remember doing that when I was a kid. I poured gasoline into a red Solo cup because then I was going to pour it on, we had a fire pit, and I was going to, just little pyro kid. So I was going to pour some gas on it, and it just ate right through the cup. I'm like, oh, so you can't do that.
Yeah, now you're covered in gasoline.
Yeah.
I got gas on my shoes the other day when I was pumping gas, and I smell like gasoline all day.
I actually like the smell of gasoline.
Why?
Not when it's always around.
Right now, it's a smell of money.
Like, I don't mind it. Like, when I'm at a gas station, I'm like,
Because it's a manly smell to you.
it's a musky smell. Yeah.
Al and I worked for Speedway, and we had a customer who filled a Gatorade bottle full of gas and then went home and set his roommate on fire. My coworker who sold him the gas got into deep shrimp.
Yeah, you can't put that in a Gatorade bottle.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
So, hey, can you just put this in the Gatorade bottle for me?
But even
sure,
if,
man, what, for what reason?
But not only are you spending money on the gas, he could have like poured a bottle of Windex on him and lit him up. There's all kinds of flammable liquids if you're going to set your
giving
roommate
him
on
ideas,
fire.
Alan.
How does
Man.
that fall back on the person at the gas station?
You can't sell people stuff unless they're putting it into a car or a gas can.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got.
If you see someone
okay, yeah,
pumping
that's
it
true,
into
yeah.
a
There's
Gatorade
signs all over
bottle,
the place that you can't put it into weirdo containers.
And some places will like limit the number of gas cans you can fill and
Yeah.
stuff like that, where
Well,
they're like
I
only
thought-
one per customer or whatever.
I thought there's like a little thing. I've never looked inside the nozzle of the pump, but I thought it had to like go inside your little gas hole, and then like there's a thing that activates.
gas hole. Don't be a gas hole.
Like I thought
Get that in your little gas hole.
Okay. I'm on a roll today.
Let me just slide this in your gas hole.
He told one of the other guys on the air at Kiss that his tan looked creamed over today. That he looked like he had a creamed over tan from the weekend.
I was
So
thinking.
he's on some other things.
Yeah, I was thinking. The skin looked rich and moisturized, and for some reason that correlated to creamy. So I don't know why.
Creamed over though?
Your skin looks creamy. Yeah.
Your gas hole's real creamed over. What?
Don't cream over my gas hole, please.
It's illegal, I think.
Alan, don't forget Ray Liotta's greatest work, the Chantix Quit Smoking commercials. Remember those?
No.
Actor, father, ex-smoker, Ray Liotta for Chantix.
I'm Ray, and I quit smoking with Chantix. I tried cold turkey. I tried the patch. They didn't work.
The wild thing about Ray Liotta is he clearly had work done at some point. Like, he always had those very interesting eyes. Mm-hmm. But he had a facelift at some point. And it, I don't know when. I don't know if it was pre or post Wild Hogs. But he had some work done. Wasn't he the bad guy in Wild Hogs?
God.
Yeah.
What was
I
that,
never
Tim
saw that.
I
Allen?
didn't think anything
It was
was.
Tim Allen. There was a black guy in there.
Who was it?
Bernie
Chris
Mac?
Tucker?
No,
it was
it
before,
was,
but it was after Bernie Mac died.
Oh, was it?
Wild Hogs was John
Hold on.
Travolta.
I think it might have been John Travolta, Tim Allen,
William
not Martin
H. Macy.
Short. That's
William
who I
H.
was,
Macy.
yeah. Who's the black guy?
I thought there was a black guy in Wild Hogs in the main cast, like Cedric the Entertainer or something like that. Oh, maybe not. Set in the suburbs of Cincinnati. Martin Lawrence. Yeah,
Okay,
I knew
yeah.
there was a guy in there.
Was going to work for me until I tried Chantix.
Chantix, along with support, helps you quit smoking.
Chantix reduced my urge to smoke. I needed that to quit.
When you try to quit smoking, with or without Chantix, you may have nicotine.
Paulie would cut the garlic so thin it would dissolve in the pan. And that's when I started
I
smoking.
tried to do that. I was
Cut it so
cooking the
thin,
other day,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, I remember what he said," and I'm like, "I do not have the dexterity to cut, or the patience
With a
to
razor
cut
blade
garlic.
to cut the garlic
No, 'cause I
super
just-
fine so it
yeah.
just dissolves in the pan.
Can it be done?
It can be done. Paulie did it in prison, no less.
Teen withdrawal
What's your
symptoms.
excuse?
Some people had changes in behavior or thinking, aggression, hostility, agitation, depression.
Yeah, I bet they're hostile and agitated. They're trying to quit
I
smoking.
love these side effects.
Yeah. Some people who try to quit smoking are really agitated and angry. Yeah, I bet. Harder than heroin to get off.
I'm waiting for that one medicine that the side effects is they actually become more tolerant.
Yeah.
They're like, they'll actually use the proper pronouns now.
Alan, Windex is not flammable. Oh.
Hairspray is.
Well, I was just thinking of like something you'd find under a kitchen sink.
There
That was
are
the first thing that came to
flammable
my
things
mind.
in a home other than gasoline.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't think Windex was flammable, but you know, maybe you use extra strength. Maybe you get that industrial
I do.
wind.
No streaks.
Yeah.
No streaks.
No streaks.
Just sparks.
No proof. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get a little Windex. You got to get rid of some, when you got to bleach it, you take it to the next level. You get that flammable Windex.
That's
And then-
right.
Then there's no streaks, nothing left.
Well, it's something to consider, right? I don't know what to tell you.
It's not. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
In prison, dinner was always a big thing. We had a pasta course, and then we had a meat or a fish. Paulie did the prep work. He was doing a year for contempt, and he had this wonderful system for doing the garlic. He used a razor, and he used to slice it so thin that it used to liquefy in the pan with just a little oil.
Liquefy. I knew it wasn't dissolved. Liquefy in the pan with just a little oil.
It's a very good system. Vinny was in charge of the tomato sauce.
Ah, got this. Wow. Got three kinds of meat in the meatballs. You got veal, beef, and pork.
Ah, good, but you gotta have the pork.
That's the flavor.
I felt he used too many onions, but it was still a very good sauce.
Vinny, don't put too many onions in the sauce.
I didn't put too much onions.
Don't put too many onions in the sauce.
Onions.
The gravy. All right, let me break here. After we return, I will have passes for you. Want to get to see Jurassic World Dominion. It's in theaters everywhere.